Hello and welcome everyone to Let's Play Tomb Raider 4 Remastered. This is Guys115 speaking, and I'd very much like to welcome you to the Coastal Ruins. That is once I will scroll through this endless inventory. God, I miss those key item rings in the previous trilogy. So, in today's hub of a level, and I'm gonna talk more about that, we are gonna get our hands on 10 out of 13 goodies. We are also gonna land 3 out of 7 kills, but we are not yet gonna find this level's one and only secret. And there are no breakable vessels for the Oops achievement, however, there are some breakable objects, as you'll soon see, so get ready to hear that satisfying crunching noise. As it pertains to the achievement, we are also gonna go for a brief detour for another clue from Jean-Yves back to Alexandria as part of this video, so structuring things differently to my 2021 LP, therefore we are gonna make progress on Inspector Wadjet, and we are gonna unlock 3 achievements tied to this level. Technically, one of them you can essentially accomplish anywhere with a certain enemy type, but I'm gonna show you the earliest possible level to unlock something, and that's here. So first of all, I hate it when these things do that. We are gonna visit the Egyptian exhibition of the Fool, as Jean-Yves referred to him, and there we are gonna be in for a nasty surprise that I actually think is really cute and adorable, and this is gonna pop automatically. Then we will need to master the ins and out of laser sight aiming with a crossbow and complete a challenge the way it was intended. And finally, well, it's no secret, we will be warned by Jean-Yves today about Seth's apparitions and what he will refer to as skeletons, of which we will defeat 3. And skeletons are a highlight of the game for me. They're such a unique enemy type that you cannot just bring the health down of, and they actually updated the kills count to track the kills of skeletons in this one, so that's truly wonderful, and the ways you can essentially dispatch them are numerous. But we're gonna have to blow off ahead of one of these guys whilst they're jumping, and this to me, my friends, is the hardest achievement in the entire game. It actually took me somewhere between 50 to 70 tries the first time I tried to do it on PlayStation 4. We'll see if I have a better strategy nowadays. So, first things first, guys. I would like to pick up the small medpack over here. Very easy to miss due to darkness, especially if you haven't increased your brightness setting. And what's really interesting that the geometry detail continues here with open windowsills. However, there's only one which has light coming from the inside. And oh my god, there she is. This horrifying abomination, a cardboard cutout of a young Lara. I mean, I'm not gonna do a comparison of the originals because this was just a closed window, but this is a lovely Easter egg we gotta capture. It's absolutely hilarious that they put her here, and it feels like we're on the same line with the Saber and Aspire developers, that she's truly a horrifying abomination, and the fact that whenever we are gonna re-enter Alexandria, she's gonna be watching sends shivers down my spines. But what sends happy shivers down my spines is what I said, one of my favorite locations in the game, the Egyptian Adventure Exhibition. So let's absolutely break in. If it says no entry, that's where Lara needs to go. And you are never ever gonna hear this theme anywhere else in the game, which is why I appreciate it so much. And also, this is a nice callback to the loading screen. You could have noticed that on the loading screen, the torch and even the sarcophagus look kind of fake. That's not because the devs did a terrible job with the loading screen. That's because it shows a fake cardboard sarcophagus and a fake torch. And we are gonna find these props in the museum over here, which I think is truly awesome. Now, you have an option to choose the left or the right entrance. Of course, this is the main one, this is how I want to enter. However, this is, I guess, a ticket booth, and inside is a set of keys. You cannot really see it from that angle, but there they are. And these, my friends, are the keys to the catacombs we need to access, from which apparently Von Croy's men started fleeing, as per Jean-Yves. Now, to get them, we're gonna have to experience this exhibition. First and foremost... I hate it when these things do that. No, I actually love it. Open the sarcophagus with a terrifying mummy. Isn't this just adorable? And its head is spinning. And what's really funny is that also in the original and in the remastered, they use the real mummy model from the burial chambers. So essentially, the owner of this exhibition has no idea how close he was to emulating the real mummy. Probably doesn't believe they exist, but in Tomb Raider world, they absolutely do. Now, I would very much like to take a picture of this sarcophagus, and this way we'll even capture the fake torch, which is absolutely a bonus. Okay, that is actually horrifying. They just kept the original head in the remaster, and we have another cardboard cutout over here, but I would like to also capture the fake pyramid along with it, and maybe roll this two line with the side of the pyramid. Yeah, I think this will do the job. Awesome. So much to see in this exhibition, and we didn't even need to pay for a ticket, which is wonderful. Now guys, stay away from that side for now. We do not have the tool to deal with that for now. Let's go to the left past another torch and break another barrier. Ah, love that sound. And my friends, the fact that they pull this off in this engine is truly wonderful. We are in another mirror room. Remember back in Karnak how we could see that we could reach the water's surface via looking in the mirror, which was completely hidden in plain sight? Something similar is happening here, and in the mirror you will actually see spike pits. Yeah, I can see why this exhibition was closed. I don't know what they were thinking, but if you just follow the instructions you see in the mirror, you should be fine. Oh, and by the way, interesting thing, if you turn on the action indicators, you will not see that with the crossbow over here. So it doesn't work perfectly, but for everything else the action indicators work fine. Anywho, you can press the action key and Lara will pick it up, and there it is, arguably the best weapon in the game. And I'm gonna talk more about it once we get out of here. Oof, if we get out of here. I think there's a spike pit we need to jump over. Wonderful, and now I'm not gonna take any chances, let's just jump on the stairs, and we are done with the mirror room. Now, there's another room over there, but we cannot really do anything yet. I'll explain it in a more efficient order. For now, the crossbow, guys, my goodness. Okay, let's just get familiar with it. First and foremost, this also has the added benefit, just like the grenade launcher merged all three ammo types under one grenade gun icon, so did the crossbow, so now we'll be scrolling through the inventory a little bit faster, so there's at least that. Here, you of course, just like with the grenade launcher, get to choose normal, poison and explosive ammo. Okay, so let's do that, and on keyboard the hotkey is 6, and if you keep pressing it, you can scroll through the different ammunition types like you could anyway. Okay, and you can also do the whole manual aiming thing, up, down, like you could with a shotgun, but even better, combine it with laser sight. And from now on, guys, whenever you press the look key to look around, Lara will enter laser sight mode, which you can control with a D-pad. I'm using the tank controls, and for me going up is inversed, so I need to press up to go down and down to go up. I have no problems with this whatsoever, this is completely natural for me, so I'm fine with that. And you can press the crouch key to zoom in and sprint key to zoom out. So let's zoom in on the mummy's head. Unfortunately, we cannot blow it off, but we'll be doing that to a skeleton later on. Okay, guys, so mastering the controls over here is important for the Godspeed challenge. You are on a strict time limit to hit all these targets over here, and each, by the way, I'm counting as a breakable object, don't you worry. Oh, I forgot the hitboxes are a bit messed up there. Okay, and you're good. Deactivate the trap by hitting all targets with only normal crossbow ammo. The sort of easier way to do it, let's say you're playing the Nintendo Switch version of the game, so you don't care about the achievements, just lob an explosive arrow over there and you'll be done with it, okay? Anyway, as you can see, we had quite a generous time. Now if you approach the Seth mask over here, which is a lovely bit of foreshadowing, you get your hands on a soul-called token. And I love the bit of detail over here. Is that Alexander the Great on the horseback over there? I have no idea. It was more generic in the OG, and here it shows something. I like to think it's Alexander the Great. There'll be so many references to him, but of course we are in the ruins of a city named after him, so that's hardly surprising. Okay, and there we go. By the way, guys, this crawl space you can already access in the beginning, and in the original I showed you a neat trick, how you can disable the trap via dangling Lara's legs here, and then drop down, pick up the token, and not even engage the targets. It doesn't work in the remaster, which is why I didn't show it here, okay? If you try to dangle Lara's legs from this crawl space, she's gonna die instantly. The spikes are gonna protrude and kill her, okay? So just keep that in mind. Besides, there's an achievement in it for you if you do it properly. Okay, so awesome. By the way, you don't have to use the zoom in function to do it, but it's just easier. But if you're too zoomed out, it's gonna get extremely difficult to hit those targets. Anywho, why did we need the token? This creepy old thing. My goodness gracious. But you know what? I'm not gonna take a picture yet, but look at those eyes. This is absolutely uncanny, and I don't want to look at it. It's sending shivers down my spine. There's a bit of an awkwardly placed token machine right in front of it like this, but almost half a meter away from it at the same time. And he charms the rope like a snake charmer would charm a snake, and you'll be able to climb it like a climbable pole. Don't ask me how this works, but this is absolutely magical. Okay, now that the rope is out, I would very much like to take a picture. Ah, cool. We'll get the scarab icons on the walls. We'll get the torch there. Wonderful. I'm happy about this one. We are taking so many pictures in today's level. This is great stuff. Okay, so let's align ourselves and climb up. And jumping off of this thing is a bit tricky because there's a block of low ceiling. But yeah, okay, it worked out fine. So first things first, very easy to miss, unless using object highlights, is from a broken broom you can pick up a wooden handle, a broken handle. Also, using the crowbar we found on the train, we can take this hook out, which is at least highlighted in the remasters, via this crack in the wall. So again, the remasters are helping us somewhat, and I do appreciate it, given how cryptic TR4 is. Now, with the wall hook, your only option is to combine it with a broken handle. If you try and, let's say, separate the laser sight, it will open the menu of all combinable items. So you can try and combine it with a broken handle or wall hook, but as you can see, that leads to nowhere, okay? You also cannot combine these with the crossbow. So the game will kind of auto-suggest all combinable items, so you're not wasting time like in a point-and-click adventure game. That's the gist of it. And we now have... Yes, Lara, we do. A hook and a pole. Okay, so let's get out of here, my friends. It's time to say goodbye to the Egyptian exhibition. I hope you enjoyed your time. I think it's such a charming bit of level. And over here, again, the remasters are trying to help us out. See this corner? Would you ever think in the original that you can interact with this? I wouldn't, but you can get your hands on the catacombs keys this way. And I guess they try to highlight that via placing this odd metal box. I still in the remaster have no idea what this is supposed to be, but at least they added a lamp here, drawing our attention here. That was not the case in the original, okay? So, observe Lara's shenanigans. Okay guys, so let's look at what we got in our inventory. Nothing. Yes, this is what Tomb Raider 4 does. It doesn't make the keys get into Lara's inventory. My god, I never ever want to see this again. Please, Lara, don't do that. You then need to, after watching the cutscene, manually pick them up from here. And I'm willing to bet anything, so many players have kind of gotten tricked by this. This is vicious. Anywho, we robbed the Egyptian exhibition, and by the way, this also marks the point when Jean-Yves has a new clue for us. You don't really have any way of knowing it other than just trial and error when coming to Alexandria. Ooh, another lit room, but no cardboard Lara there, thankfully. So say goodbye to Egyptian adventure. It was absolutely lovely, and now, contrary to my original 2021 LP playlist, we're gonna go past creepy Lara's shadow back into Alexandria. Okay, now, in case this is your second visit of the Alexandria and you didn't do the whole exit and re-entering, you're gonna find a couple of scorpions over here. And also, remember, you will only trigger the following cutscene if you exited Jean-Yves' office using this entrance. That is crucial.
Lara, I've been doing some reading, and it is highly probable that some of the armor is hidden down in the catacombs themselves. But you must take care. Word of Von Croy's men fleeing the tunnels has reached me, Set separations have begun to move into the city, gathering at the ancient sites. You must hurry and find the library.
Well, we must hurry and find the library, but before we do that, we will get another bit of puzzle or clue from Jean-Yves. But for now, we are halfway through the Inspector Wadjet, and again, remember the good habit, always exit via the front entrance, not the balcony, as tempting as it is, to successfully prime the next cutscene and convince the game you've indeed visited him. And over here, if you haven't done the whole Alexandria revisit in the previous episode, you will see another 2 scorpions ambushing you, but we wrapped up that business. For now, the Alexandria hub level is completely safe. Okay, so awesome, we're hunting down those achievements. Let's go back to Coastal Ruins. It's interesting to look at this loading screen again, because it shows a real skeleton in that fake Egyptian adventure exhibition. Hello, creepy Lara. And that's a bit of foreshadowing that we will encounter real horrors, not just a fake mummy from a wooden sarcophagus, okay? By the way, 2 entrances, but this one is a dead end, so doesn't matter, but I wanted to show it to you at least once. And over here we are gonna enter just a ridiculously awkward stretch of navigation, and I do not understand this. If you don't want Lara to get wet, just do jump like this, don't hold action or anything, she should make it if you're aligned perfectly, otherwise you'll have to go for a swim. And on our way back, that's what will essentially become unavoidable, because you can even exit this crawl space and land here via the forward somersaults, but you cannot make a jump from here all the way there because of the ceiling in the way. So anyway, I'm gonna show that to you a bit later on. For now, you know what, I'm gonna exit the old-fashioned way, but you have to be perfectly aligned for Lara to do that. And we can just do a side flip. There's nothing around the column over here or anything like that. And again, a 3D protruding ladder, which still doesn't look like something that would hold a person's weight and looks incredibly slippery. But the remasters have tried to at least make it into something workable, and I appreciate that. Also, notice how all these are now 3D and protruding, giving it actual geometry, and not all of them are the same. I love that. And this looked great in the original, you had a great casting light and these fake windows, which now have a bit of depth to them. Again, very small touches like that, but I feel subconsciously they really help immerse ourselves in. And now, look at this incredible flyby. This is the game's way of welcoming you to the first real hub level of Tomb Raider franchise. Guys, if you've ever played the Survivor trilogy and you know levels from Tomb Raider 2013 like the Mountain Village, which essentially branches off into so many different unique levels, this is kind of the franchise's first attempt at that, and I don't necessarily like it. How it was implemented here, it is incredibly cryptic, but I really respect the attempt. This is great stuff, and don't worry, in this episode I'm gonna guide you through all of it. The first building, we kind of emerge from that way, leading to Alexandria, but this one is actually connected to the catacombs level, the first real level that we need to access underground. However, this is the exit from the catacombs, and over there is the entrance into the catacombs, okay? But you can absolutely be a bit naughty and, I guess, explore the exit a bit early. You will see grates like this all over the place. And this is a point I'm not really happy about, because some of these can be opened via a crowbar, but it's not visible to the naked eye at all. And unfortunately, remasters haven't really added any visual flair to them to make it clear which ones can be opened via a crowbar and which ones cannot. And actually, some of these can be, but only from one side, despite the sides looking completely identical. I don't like this. This is bad cryptic design of Tomb Raider 4. There's gonna be another one, which is actually gonna be openable via the gate key, but that one is at least gonna have a lock on it, you know, have that decency, so there's that. So this, my friends, will be an exit from the catacombs. Behind this grate is a small area, still part of this level, where 2 skeletons are gonna appear, but unfortunately not in today's episode, because we cannot access it from this side, unless, I guess, I would somehow manage to corner glitch my way through or something like that, but I don't want to start breaking the game quite yet. Now, over in that corner is a box of normal crossbow bolts, and actually, since we're going to be using plenty in this level, I'm happy to see that, but past this level, they're just going to completely outlive their usefulness. Furthermore, Jean-Yves warned us of Seth's apparitions, and my friends, I would like to introduce you to one of my favorite things about Tomb Raider 4, the skeletons. My god, these things absolutely terrified me as a kid, and I was convinced for the longest time, you just cannot kill them, you can only outrun them, because I was too scared to experiment. By the way, they also remind me of the skeletons from Jason and the Argonauts, especially in the original graphics. They are absolutely adorable. I love these doofy looking guys. Now, let's just switch back to the remasters. We can see the position of the sun changing somewhat. The cool thing is that both Core Era devs and Saber and Aspire have played around with these skeletons, and we're gonna see 3 different varieties in Alexandria, which is really cool. The one in Coastal Ruins is this most basic, just a completely naked person with an old bronze sword and shield, really unremarkable looking, but that's why they remind me of Jason and the Argonauts. And I'm gonna show you a couple of ways you can dispatch these guys. So first of all, oh, wrong ammunition, very wrong ammunition. I would like to... Oh my god, I cannot use the laser sight? Okay, so I'm hammering the look key and Lara is not... Let's recombine it. Pick normal ammo. Can you, Miss Croft? Well, this sucks. I cannot enter the laser sight at all. This is a bug. This never happened to me in the original. See, I'm holding the look key. We have the laser sight applied, but we are not entering the scope. Is this something to do with this location, or do I need to save and load? Is this because of this camera angle? No, she will just not enter laser sight, and that's a real bummer too, because I wanted to show you multiple ways in which you can dispatch them, but it's not possible without the laser sight. So you know what, guys? Screw it. I'm gonna save the game here, and I'm gonna restart the game and see you back here again, because this is important and I want to show you despite the fact it will increase our save count. Okay, seems reloading just did the trick, so this is very annoying. I don't appreciate having my saves count artificially increased like that, but what I would like to do is, they are destructible. We just blew off the skeleton's shield arm. By the way, notice that doing this and incapacitate them from blocking will not increase your kill count. We are still at 148 like we were at the end of the previous video. But what you can do to sort of permanently incapacitate them is blow their head off. This also, by the way, doesn't count as a kill. But this is gonna make things a little bit more difficult because they're gonna start running around, but at least they are completely harmless. Now, before this fella will escape altogether, let's just choose an explosive arrow and finish the job. Okay, I feel like we are really guilty of skeleton abuse here, but this is what I wanted to show you, and we are at 149 kills. Blowing up skeletons does count as kills, okay guys? So I wanted to show you that, but don't worry, there are gonna be 2 more we can play around with, and I'm gonna show you a more convenient and ammunition saving way to take care of them. Furthermore, these 2 buildings are connected with catacombs underground, the entrance and exit. As I said, the next level after the catacombs, also connected underground, is the Temple of Poseidon, which entrance is this large building. And I remember in the original being able to jump from here, all the way here, climb up, and then make it onto the roof here and enter like this. However, that's no longer possible in the remaster. There's some invisible barrier over here. Furthermore, I was able to jump here and show you how the game would glitch out and stop showing you the level geometry and that sort of thing. By the way, love the new skybox over there with actual buildings in the distance. They put up some invisible barrier here in the remaster, which I don't really appreciate, so we can no longer get on the roof, which is a bit of a bummer. But let me at least show you I guess, depending on which way you look at it, it could be interpreted as either exit or entrance to the Temple of Poseidon, but in our case, in our adventure, this is another gate that's gonna be crowbarable from the other side. Crowbarable, it's a word. Yeah, Lara, she needs to do it from the other side. So when we emerge from the Temple of Poseidon, this is where we're gonna find ourselves, okay guys? Now, furthermore, I want to show you around the corner over here that the Temple of Poseidon leads to a level called the Lost Library of Alexandria, my absolutely favorite level of the entire game, and something Jean-Yves also hinted at, and that has an exit leading over here, although technically it's Hall of Demetrius, but Hall of Demetrius is essentially one room, final room of the Lost Library of Alexandria being its own instance, its own loadable map, and I still have no bloody idea why Core Era did it like this, and it irritates me to no end. But what I want to show you, using the photo mode nowadays, is that over here is an exit from the Lost Library of Alexandria, but this is a secret exit. If you actually end up leaving it like this, you will end up triggering the one and only secret of the coastal ruins. Spawn 2 skeletons, which was not the case in the original PC version, but maybe in PlayStation yes, and it made it to remasters, which I think is pretty cool, and you are gonna get your hands on extra 3 goodies over here, also tied to an achievement, okay? But later about that. So when we wrap up the Lost Library of Alexandria and Hall of Demetrius, that's what we're gonna do, and unlock Coastal Ruins, one and only secret. Are you getting confused? I know this is a lot, but don't worry, it's all gonna make sense. And finally, you might be wondering, what on earth is the end goal? What's the objective of Alexandria itself? Well, once you have 2 key items called Pharos Knot and Pharos Pillar, and Pharos being the reference to the Lighthouse of Pharos, one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world, you need to swim into the tunnel over there and enter a level called Pharaoh's Temple of Isis, okay? I'm not gonna do that yet, because the current will sweep us away, and the way to get back is not the same way you enter, but that will essentially mean exploring that level, and I want to do that in the video dedicated to the level itself, okay? So just keep in mind you will need 2 key items with Pharos in their name before you are to swim there and essentially wrap up the Alexandria chapter of the game, okay guys? So there was a brief tour through the coastal ruins. One place we haven't yet explored, and by the way, yeah, you cannot really swim out. Let me show you what the border looks like. It was more open in the OG. Here they limited it with a couple of rocks leading to the sea, which is nicely connected to the skybox. I actually appreciate that in the original. And all the seaweeds, the starfish, this is really cool stuff. So for now, I want to take you over here to solid surface. There is one more item we haven't yet picked up in the water, okay? And it's incredibly easy to miss. So let's see if this is a good way of doing it. There is a current that's gonna fight against you. That can make things a little bit tricky. But this is where you need to go, and I don't know how these grenades still work being underwater, but hey, a box of normal grenades. Always useful, especially if you're in the mood for blowing up some skeletons. And I think I'm gonna cover the advantages and disadvantages of using grenades versus explosive arrows in the Catacombs level, which is gonna be a skeleton fest. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed the tour, and the final point of our journey, the destination, is over here. You are gonna be immediately ambushed by this level's additional 2 skeletons. Let's see them. Aren't they just adorable? Look at them, they're so acrobatic. By the way, they can absolutely fall down via accident. It can happen. But don't worry, in the remaster, if that happens, it will still count as a kill. The game doesn't actually care if you were the one to push them down, or if it was an accident. Your kill count will increase even if these guys will have an accident. In the original, I did a self-imposed challenge where I had to be the one to deliver the killing blow. I'm not gonna do that here in the remaster, therefore. Okay, let's see. Wasn't enough of a distance. Now guys, what I recommend, it doesn't really matter if you use wide shot or normal. I'm using wide shot just to preserve the normal ammunition. Oh god, I did not want to do that, but at least you saw the skeleton shuddering. Okay, now, the longer we linger here, the more we are at risk of that guy killing himself as well. So, let's instead climb up and use this skeleton for the Deadshot achievement. By the way, I just want to show you, see that guy falling down with our shotgun blast counted as a kill. We are at 150. Even if we wouldn't help him with a shotgun, it would still count as a kill, which is awesome. So, Deadshot, the hardest achievement in the game. Okay, let's switch to normal ammunition. It's the only way it will work. And now, what I would very much like to do is save the game here, because this is gonna take multiple attempts. What you need to do is in fact blow the skeleton's head off just as he's jumping. Which, if the hitboxes would work correctly, would be fine. But given that they don't, is a bit tricky. Let me show you. Yeah. That didn't really work out, did it? Now, could be that I just missed and wasn't aware of it. Also, I probably should have saved after grabbing that crossbow. I was a bit of a fool there. Let's do it like this. If you blow their head, even shortly after, it will not work. Now, what really helps me, guys, is to essentially switch to the original graphics. It's easier for me to hit their head like that, so that's what I recommend to you as well. I feel like his sword arm blocks it at points. Well, that was the shield arm, but hey, maybe that's progress, because this could help him being less covered up when he's jumping. Nah, not really. Well, and this is too late. Oh! Well, took a while, but it worked. And again, like I said, it's really easier to do in the original... Oh, he had a bit of an accident. Let's see if our kills count increased. Yep, we are at 151. Okay, back to the modern graphics. So, yeah, this will take a couple of attempts, and also it might help to blow the shield arm off first. I unlocked it that way in PS5, so I know that blowing off the shield arm first will not invalidate the achievement in any way. Okay, guys? So, we did it a little bit quicker than I expected, a point which I'm happy about, and we even saved up some shotgun ammunition or explosives via dispatching him that way. Awesome. So, one other thing I want to show you before we wrap up our first visit of Coastal Ruins is right here, the pit where we fell down and I thought, that's it, Lara's gonna be dead. No, not really. So guys, in order to enter the catacombs, you not only need the keys, but you also need to access the crawl space over there. And there are two ways you can do it. You can either jump over here and then jump away at the very last second and let the boulder slide. Of course it's gonna drop the moment Lara is there. Or you can do it a little bit with a more nuance, but I wouldn't necessarily call this safer because of this brazier. This thing will set Lara on fire, even being half a meter away from it. It's an insane brazier. I don't know what they were thinking. It has a terrible hitbox, but if you very carefully light the torch on it, you can also light the rope over here. Let me maybe align Miss Croft a little bit better. There we go. By the way, I'm definitely counting the rope as a breakable object. This is going to release the boulder from relative safety. There. It's going to get out of the way, and the entrance into the crawl space is now free. But before the crawl space will be relevant, we need to wrap up things at the top. Okay, guys? So, let's go up. But I technically consider this part of the Coastal Ruins, so I really wanted to show this to you here. Okay, I think this will do nicely. And let's finally position ourselves in front of the first real level of Alexandria. You know, not a hub that connects the real levels, not even the surrounding areas of Jean-Yves' office, but the real deal. Tomb raiding action is what's gonna be next. And see, this grate at least has the key slot over here. It had it also in the original. Looks a bit awkward, but it communicates the point across. So there we go. The gate key from the Egyptian Adventure Exhibition is ours. And now all we gotta do is make it to the final square, and I would very much like to show you the stat screen. So my friends, this was an exhaustive look at the Coastal Ruins. We even encountered a couple of bugs, and the enemies had a couple of accidents, but it's all part of the adventure. the most important thing is the laser sight now works. So we have gotten our hands on 10 goodies out of 13. The other 3 we are essentially going to get our hands on towards the very end of the Alexandria adventure, raising the total to 273. We have also, directly or indirectly, but in a way which increases our kill count, landed 3 skeleton kills. There are 4 more skeletons we'll have to put up with in Coastal Ruins, but that's gonna involve accessing the other levels. So for now we are at 151 kills. We have not found this level's one and only secret. We'll only do it when accessing Coastal Ruins from the Hall of Demetrius, as I explained, so we'll have to wait for that. And when it comes to Vessels Broken for the Oops achievement, nothing, but quite a few breakable objects. And by the way, you could make the argument that breaking the skeleton's shield arms and skulls could be counted as breakable objects, but guys, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna remove all destructible enemy body parts from the equation. I took a look what that would look like throughout the entire game in my Tomb Raider 4 final stats video. Feel free to check it out what that would look like if we were to count those, but for now I'm just gonna stick to breakable vessels and breakable objects, not breakable enemy body parts, okay? And we have also unlocked 3 out of 4 achievements pertaining to this level. The 4th is tied to this level's secret later on. But the 3 we did unlock was approaching the fake mummy. I hate it when they do that. We also unlocked Godspeed for pretty much completing the crossbow challenge as Horus intended. And we have also proved that we are really good at save scumming via landing the headshot to the skeleton mid-jump. Again, remember, it's so much easier to do it in the OG graphics, but ensure that you lift the FPS toggle in the options to make it at smooth 60. Okay, I hope this advice was worth it and it will help you guys. And again, if it just doesn't work, I know it seems impossible, keep trying, it eventually will. Like I said, the first time I did this, it took 50 to 60 tries. Okay, so that's essentially it. I'm gonna make a very satisfying level end save here. My god, we increased the save count by 4. Not happy about that, but anywho guys, I am now gonna say thanks to my absolutely amazing patrons, without whom I would not be able to take such an extensive look at the Coastal Ruins. Blangupel, Mick, Severin Drax, Enstickle, Katie Danger, Pooh the 2, Basic Brownie, and Bino. Thank you guys so much for being my loyal Winstons and for doing away with this absolute abomination so it doesn't scare us anymore. Next, I would like to say big thanks to my caretaker Winstons, Michael McConkey, Karavetu, Renegade Durney, Blanket Fox, Jonathan Jones, Dig Debby, and PD92. Thank you guys so much for your support of the channel and also for being our tour guides today through the Coastal Ruins of Alexandria. You guys brought along Stella's map from Tomb Raider's net, and this way we knew where the different points of our journey are and what's the most optimal path to take. I would also like to give special thanks to my brave veteran Winstons, Andrea Paviglianiti, Alexander, and Richard Dearman. Thank you guys so much for your valiant support of the channel and also for facilitating years of archery lessons with young Lara, turning her into the master marksman she is today. You know, something tells me that her archery skills will come in very handy in the Survivor trilogy. And finally, I would like to say one very special thanks to my one and only fine vintage Winston, Akira Foxmind. Thank you so much for your long and generous support of the channel, for all your kind comments, and also for painstakingly painting all the Warhammer skeleton minifigures with your brushes and color palettes, making them literally spring to life. You know, the skeletons are my absolutely favorite adversaries of Tomb Raider 4, and we are gonna get to see more varieties of these guys that you painted for us later on in the Alexandria section. And on a final note, I'd like to say thanks to my free Patreon members as well as to each and every one of you for watching this rather convoluted video. Honestly guys, in case anything is unclear about this that the video didn't cover, please let me know, drop a comment in the video and I'll reply, or if you are my Patreon, you can also message me directly via that platform and I'll do my best to guide you through the confusing maze that is the Coastal Ruins, okay? Also, you can check my 2021 Let's Play guide, which is structured a little bit differently, mostly because achievements didn't really exist back then, but also I'm trying to make things a little bit more efficient now. We'll see how that will go. And also one of the reasons that Alexandria videos are taking me longer to produce is simply I already need to play a couple of levels in advance and study them thoroughly, especially to make sure I will not miss any pickup or enemy, and I will already provide you correct information in advance for future episodes to come. Coastal Ruins scrolling text is a good example of that. I hope that makes sense. You will have to wait a bit longer for these, but I do hope that the quality will be worth it. Nevertheless, guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the very end of the video, and next time I'll see you in the catacombs. Proper tomb raiding action there, and until we'll see each other there, I want to wish all of you happy raiding.